Faith Fulfilled, Book 1, Mike's Legacy, Chapter 8. Destiny wandered through the empty forests, still with guilt clogging her heart. She knew only of one person that she could trust, to guide her in the right decision. A wise man, who seemed to always have the answers. As she walked towards her destination, she continued to think about what had happened a few days prior.
What did I do to upset him so much? All I said was he wasn't my father.
She thought to herself. She was thinking so deeply that she almost walked straight into a ravine. After putting her fist toward the ravine, she kept on moving. After an hour of walking, she finally reached her journey's end. A small home, but still big enough to hold multiple people. She walked to the door and made a couple of soft knocks. A few seconds following, a middle-aged man came to the door and said,
"Ah, Destiny. Good to see you again. Come in."
The man stepped aside and walked Destiny in. Also inside the home was a lady who seemed to be around the same age. She gave Destiny a smile as she walked in.
"You seem troubled. Please sit,"
the man said, pulling a chair. Destiny sat down and put her hands on her forehead, showing visible stress.
"Talk to me. What's wrong?"
the man asked.
I got ambushed by a lot of monsters in the middle of the night. Was wounded very badly. So bad, in fact, that I blacked out. Before I did, though, I was walking towards a village. I passed out before I could make it.
Oh my.
I woke up in a medical building. One of the villagers and another man carried me there.
Did they try to rob you?
No. That was what was surprising. Usually that's what I expect when I find other people. But this man who brought me there, he stayed with me the whole time. I thought it was because he was just a pig who had the hots for me. But no. He just wanted to make sure I was all right.
The man began showing signs of concern.
Tell me, Destiny. What did this man look like?
He asked nervously.
Huh? Oh, he had light brown hair, blue eyes, tan skin, and iron armor on.
Did he know how to use a sword?
Yes, actually. I saw him fight a couple of times, and he was spectacular with the blade.
What was his name?
the man asked, now starting to shake with anxiousness.
Mike. His name was Mike.
Looking up at the man looked down to the floor, then over to his wife who was listening to the conversation. As they locked eyes on one another, they each showed widened eyes. The stare lasted for what seemed like an eternity.
Is something wrong?
Destiny asked, as the middle-aged couple continued to look at each other.
No, nothing at all. So, what did this Mike fellow do to make you so visibly upset?
The man asked, looking back at Destiny.
Nothing. It's actually what I did to him.
The man raised an eyebrow.
He tried so hard to make sure I was all right. He never left my side, even when I showed no gratitude. He even tried to run out of the village from the doctor's bed. He came after me and brought me back when I had nowhere else to run. I asked him why he cared so much, and he said that he couldn't in good conscience allow me to get hurt. I then yelled at him, saying he wasn't my father. After I said that, he went into what looked like a trance. I saw a lot of depression in his eyes when he snapped out of it. His friends then yelled at me, and he went off on his own.
So, you saying he isn't your father upset him?
Yes, but I don't understand why that would be. I was such a jerk to everyone there. And all they wanted was to help me.
Do you remember where this village is?
Yeah. Why?
The man stood up from his chair and said,
Take me there. I'd like to meet this Mike fellow.
Wait, what? He didn't do anything wrong. Don't go hurt him.
Settle down, I'm not. I just want to meet him, that's all.
Oh, okay then, I suppose.
Destiny rose from her chair. The two made their way to the door.
Oh, and Ray?
Yes, Destiny?
When will we continue our training?
If this Michael fellow is as good at the blade as you say, the next time we train, you will have a training partner.
Ray said as he opened the front door. Amy stayed behind to guard the home from the hordes that night.
Seriously? Gravel and emeralds for flint? You get flint from gravel!
Clyde yelled at the villagers. The villagers said nothing, and continued to stare at him with his emerald green eyes.
Oh, pipe down, Clyde. There's some people out there stupid enough to take that deal, I'm sure.
Mike joked, putting his hand on Clyde's shoulder.
Oh, I bet.
Come on now, Clyde, don't be so sour. It's not my fault that you suck at strip mining.
Would you shut up about that already? You won this week. You won this week. You won this week. Do I have to say it more?
Maybe a couple more times.
Quit being a jerk, Mike.
Isabella said, walking toward the two men.
If I can't have a little fun, I might as well leave.
Our definitions of fun are quite different.
Quite. Your version of fun is rooting wheat and potatoes all day.
Very funny.
All right, I'll lay off. I don't need you whacking me over the head with an iron shovel again.
You better.
Anyways, moving on from Mike's childness, I have some iron I'd like to trade. Is your blacksmith around?
Clyde asked, waving the iron bars in the air.
I believe so. Let me go get him.
Isabella said, walking toward the blacksmith's house with Clyde following behind. As Isabella walked away, Frank came out of his house and walked towards Mike.
Seems like you're doing better.
You could say that.
Well, look who's decided to come back.
Frank said, looking off in the distance. Mike looked in the same direction, watching two figures coming their way.
Let's hope they're here to trade.
I don't think so, Frank.
Ray and Destiny entered the village. Ray began looking around in amazement of seeing a village as functional as this one still existing.
Is he here?
Ray whispered to Destiny,
Yes, that's him over there, talking to the villager in green robes.
as she motioned to Mike and Frank. They slowly walked over to Mike. Ray was overwhelmed with her emotion as he took each step.
Are you okay, mister?
Mike asked as he looked up at the man. Ray looked down upon Michael with widened eyes. Was this him? Was this the boy he had left behind all those years ago?
Hello there. My name is Ray.
Ray said nervously.
Pleasure to meet you, Ray. My name is Michael.
Mike said with equal politeness. Ray's mind was flooded with various thoughts, and his heart was flooded with various emotions. Mike reached out a hand, gesturing a handshake. Ray slowly took out his quivering hand and met with Mike's, and the two had a long handshake.
This guy is kinda weird.
Mike thought to himself. As they concluded their handshake, Destiny walked up beside Ray and looked at Mike.
Oh, well, welcome back, Destiny.
Look, Mike, I'm sorry for whatever I did that upset you. I hope you know I didn't mean to hurt you.
Mike put up a hand and said,
You don't need to apologize. I know you didn't mean any harm, but just be mindful, alright?
Ray was impressed with the wise reaction that Mike had to the situation. This must be his son. The similar physical features and the similar wisdom and choice of words. There is no questioning it. This is the Michael that he had left behind 19 years ago. Michael Campbell.
You're forgiving me that easily?
Why shouldn't I? Holding grudges is a waste of energy.
He couldn't believe that this was actually happening. His son. Alive? But how could this be? Surely he would have been killed by the monsters of the night, the legacy holders' minions, or even the legacy holders themselves. It's not like the villagers can fight to protect themselves, let alone a child. But no, he was here right now, right in front of him. His own flesh and blood. What would Amy say? Sure, she had suspicions after hearing his conversation with Destiny, but what would she say after having her suspicions confirmed? Ray would look to see two swords on Mike's back.
Nice swords you've got there.
Oh, thank you. I crafted them myself. They've been very useful and have saved my life and my friends' lives countless times.
Mike said, taking one of the blades off his back and looking at it.
Sounds like you know how to properly use them.
Indeed. On my early adventures, I searched through abandoned libraries and strongholds to learn the knowledge of sword fighting. That and martial arts in general.
He's an adventurer too. He really is just like his father. Adventurous, wise, and strong. But has he discovered his legacy powers? Ray concluded that this was the time to find out.
Would you like to spar with me?
Ray said, taking one of his own blades from his back.
I beg your pardon?
Spar with me. I want to see how good you are.
Okay. Well, let's not do that with real swords. I have some training swords over at my place that I use to train my student. Let me go grab them.
Mike said as he turned and ran up the hill.
A student?
Ray thought to himself.
So, you finally came back.
Said Frank, who had remained silent, watching the conversation go on. Ray looked over at the villager with confusion.
You came back to find your boy, haven't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You should know. He's been wondering where you've been all his life. If he had done something wrong to make you want to leave him behind. If there was something wrong with him. You've no idea how much pain you have caused him. Every day he thinks about you, wondering where you are. You have a lot of nerve showing up here again.
I had my reasons. You couldn't possibly understand.
Ray said, As he looked into the distance, Destiny just looked on at the conflict brewing in front of her.
You're right. I don't understand.
Frank said as he walked away. Destiny watched the villager walking to his home, then looked back at Ray.
What was that all about?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
He saw Mike returning down the hill, with 4 wooden training swords.
All right, let's do this.
Mike said, tossing 2 of the wooden sticks to Ray.
Hold up. Not here. Let's do this somewhere with more space.
You're right. Let's go to the outskirts of the village.
The 2 walked out of the village, with Destiny following behind. When they felt there was enough space, they took their opposite positions. They each raised their blades over their heads to signify their battle stances, which were the same. Like father, like son. Mike made the first move, swiftly spinning and turning as he made his way toward his opponent. He took a shot at the face. Ray blocked, barely even moving his arms. Mike's eyes widened, then he took another quick shot, this time at the stomach. Once again, barely moving, Ray blocked. Now it was time for Ray to attack. In a flash, Ray took several swings in multiple places on Mike's body. Mike barely blocked them all in time. Ray then kicked Michael to the ground with a swift blow to the chest. With a grunt, he hit the ground. Looking up, Mike saw Ray flying toward him. Mike rolled on the ground to avoid being hit by another swipe of the sword. Ray was moving with inhuman speeds, but not the speeds that would make him seem like the legacy holder he is. Swiping at Michael in every spot imaginable. Mike was blocking some of the attacks, but not all of them. Cuts and bruises appeared on Mike's body. Mike tried to take the offense, but he was always forced to remain on the defensive, with the unbelievable speed and agility his opponent was displaying. Ray's wooden swords were beginning to crack under the immense strength he was pushing them through. Ray took one final swipe to Mike's face, which landed full on. He then kicked Mike forward with a powerful kick. Michael flew backward into a tree trunk. As he struggled to get up, he saw the wooden blade pointing to his face.
Looks like I win.
How? How can you possibly move that fast?
I may look like an old man, but make no mistake, I can hold my own. You've got skill, Michael. There's no denying that. But you still have much to learn.
Clyde, who was watching in the distance, began chuckling like a madman.
Hey! Quit your laughing over there!
I'm sorry, but this is priceless.
Michael groaned as he got back to his feet.
Maybe with a little bit more training, we can try again.
Sounds like a plan.
Guys, the sun is setting!
Isabella yelled in the distance. Everybody looked up into the sky to see the sun almost completely set. So they went to their respective homes to spend the night. Ray left the village, unknown to anyone but him, that the final legacy holder had been found.